Why would a woman who deeply wants you suddenly start acting distant? Why would she ignore your texts, push you away, or even act cold, right when things seem to be getting serious? That's what we're breaking down today. Because what most men don't realize is this: when a woman starts pushing you away, it's not always because she's losing interest. Sometimes it's because she's falling harder than she expected. And instead of getting closer, she retreats. Not because she doesn't want you, but because she's terrified of how much she actually does. Sounds backward, right? But this is one of the most overlooked truths in modern relationships, and it's destroying potentially powerful connections every day. Most men take a woman's distance at face value. She stops calling. She must not care. She pulls away emotionally. Must mean she's talking to someone else. But here's the twist. What if her pulling away was actually a sign that she's emotionally overwhelmed? A lot of women, especially the ones who've been hurt before or who secretly struggle with vulnerability, will subconsciously test you when things start to feel real. They want you close, but their fear tells them to push. They crave connection, but they've been taught to stay guarded. So when they start to feel themselves wanting you, really wanting you, they panic. This is where most men mess up. They chase. They beg. They demand answers. And that energy only confirms her fears. That closeness equals pressure. That love equals losing control. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why women push away the men they secretly want the most, how to recognize the signs, and what to do instead of reacting emotionally. Because if you can understand this behavior for what it really is, you'll stop getting caught in the confusion and start handling it like a man who actually knows what he's doing. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished Section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. 1. She fears losing control. When a woman starts developing real feelings for you, feelings she can't fully explain or manage, something unexpected often kicks in. Fear. Not fear of you, but fear of losing control over herself. The moment she senses that you matter more than she expected, her instinct might be to back away. You have to understand. Many women have been conditioned to protect themselves emotionally. They've been taught, either by experience or by their environment, that falling too hard makes them weak. So the moment they feel themselves slipping, thinking about you more, caring what you think, wondering if you'll stay, they panic. And instead of leaning in, they pull back. This has nothing to do with you doing something wrong. In fact, sometimes it happens because you're doing everything right. You're being consistent. You're making her feel safe. You're showing up. But all that stability triggers a fear she's been running from, that she might actually get attached. And once that happens, she's no longer in control of her own emotions. To her, control is safety. And when she starts to want you more than she expected, it feels like she's handing you the power to hurt her. That's why she distances herself. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's trying to protect herself from caring even more. Here's something you might have experienced. You're texting a woman, things are flowing, conversations are consistent, she seems invested. Then out of nowhere, she slows down. Her replies become shorter. She starts taking hours, even days, to respond. You wonder what happened. You didn't change. You didn't mess up. But suddenly she's acting like you don't matter anymore. It's confusing, but if you understand this dynamic, it starts to make sense. She's not rejecting you. She's trying to regain her emotional balance by pulling back. She's scared of how deep it's getting, so she reclaims her sense of control by creating distance. Now here's where most men mess it up. They chase. They start questioning her. They show frustration. That only proves to her that she was right to fear this closeness. But a man who understands this will do something different. He won't chase, and he won't flinch. He keeps his cool. He holds the same calm energy he had before. And that's exactly what makes her feel safe again. Because once she sees that you're not trying to control her, and that you're still solid even when she pulls away, she'll come back. Not because you chased, but because you didn't. 2. Too much emotion scares. A lot of men think that if a woman has strong feelings for you, that's all that matters. That once she feels love, desire, or even emotional attachment, things will naturally progress. But this is where it gets tricky. Sometimes, the stronger her feelings grow, the more unstable she becomes inside. Not because she doesn't want those feelings, but because they scare her. We tend to assume that women are more emotionally open than men. And on the surface, that seems true. But underneath, many women actually have less emotional stability than you might expect, especially when the emotions are intense and personal. When it's just flirting or surface-level attention, she's in her comfort zone. But the moment she starts feeling something deeper, she's not in control anymore. And when she's not in control of what she feels, she starts to worry about how much power you now hold over her. Because real emotion means vulnerability. It means she's not just playing the game anymore. She's emotionally invested. And if she's invested, that means she can get hurt. Badly. That kind of emotional risk is terrifying to some women, especially if they've been through heartbreak, betrayal, or have never truly felt safe in a relationship. So instead of embracing the connection, she withdraws. Not because she doesn't feel it, but because she feels it too much. It's a defense mechanism, completely unconscious most of the time. She'll convince herself that she's too busy, or that you're too available, or that something just feels off. But in reality, her emotions are too strong, and she doesn't trust them. And here's the part most men miss. If you respond to that shift by getting emotional yourself, getting anxious, angry, or overly concerned, you only make her emotional storm worse. Because now, both of you are in an unstable emotional space. What she needs is your steadiness, not your fear. Men who don't understand this take it personally. They think her pulling back means she never cared. But if you've ever felt a woman fully open up to you, only to suddenly become distant, you know how real this is. It's not fake. It's not manipulation. It's an inner conflict between what she wants and what she's afraid of. What you have to remember is this. The more emotion she feels, the more calm you need to be. That calm isn't coldness. It's leadership. It's what allows her to trust her emotions instead of running from them. Because when you give her a safe space to feel without pressure, panic, or control, she won't fear the emotion. She'll lean into it. And that's when everything shifts. 3. She's testing your strength. There's a moment in almost every connection where a woman will shift. Everything seems good, the vibe is strong, the chemistry is real, and then she starts acting different. Cold, distant, confusing. A lot of men think something must have gone wrong. But what they don't realize is that this is often a test, and it's not random. See, women don't just want to feel attraction. They want to feel safe in that attraction. And the only way she can truly feel safe is if she sees that you can handle her at her most uncertain, emotional, and unpredictable. That's when she watches how you react. That's when she tests your strength. Now let's be real. She's not doing this with a checklist. It's not calculated. Most of the time, she doesn't even know she's doing it. But deep down, her instinct is watching. Can this man handle it when I pull away? Will he fold the moment I stop giving him what he wants? Or will he stay grounded no matter how much pressure I create? This is how a lot of women separate the men they like from the men they'll actually submit to emotionally. A woman who's feeling things deeply but isn't ready to fully trust will create emotional friction on purpose. She wants to see what you're made of, not just what you say or how you act when it's easy, but how you move when the energy shifts. That's where your strength is revealed. And it's not about being aggressive or dominant. It's about emotional control. When she throws emotional chaos your way, whether it's silence, mood swings, or pulling back, your reaction either shows strength or insecurity. And trust me, she feels it instantly. Most men fail this test without realizing it. They get needy. They start chasing. They start explaining themselves. They fall apart because her energy changed. And all that does is show her that he's not the man she hoped he was. But when you stay calm, when you don't beg, don't argue, don't try to fix something that doesn't need fixing, you prove that you don't need her behavior to validate your value. That's power. That's what she's secretly looking for. This test isn't something you can avoid. It's part of the dynamic. Every high-value woman who feels a strong emotional pull will do this at some point. It's not to break you, it's to see if you can't be broken, and once she sees that you can handle her worst without losing your best, that's when she starts to trust you on a level most men never get to. 4. Her past. Trauma is in charge. You might think you're dealing with the woman in front of you, but sometimes what you're actually facing is everything she hasn't healed from. Her reactions, her distance, her sudden coldness, they're not always about you. They're about the emotional scars she's still carrying. Most men don't realize just how deeply a woman's past can affect how she responds to love in the present. If she's been betrayed, lied to, cheated on, or used before, those experiences don't just disappear. They shape her worldview. They rewire her expectations. And even if she likes you, even if she wants something real with you, her past trauma can hijack the connection. Here's the part a lot of men struggle with. She can feel safe and unsafe with you at the same time. One side of her is drawn to you. The other side is on high alert. The moment things start to feel too good, her mind might go to one place. This is too familiar. I've been here before, and I got hurt. Her trauma becomes the voice in her head, telling her to leave before she gets left. So what does she do? She shuts down. She pulls back. She tells herself not to trust what she's feeling, because last time she did, she paid for it. Push before she gets pulled. Close the door before it gets slammed in her face again. And if you're unaware of this, you'll take it personally. You'll start thinking she's playing games, that she's flaky or uninterested. But the truth is she's scared, and that fear is being driven by pain that has nothing to do with you. Now here's where men lose control. They try to talk her out of it. They try to fix her wounds. But your job is not to be her therapist. Your role is to stand firm in who you are, without letting her emotional swings shake your core. If she's acting out of trauma, your consistency becomes the one thing she can measure reality by. Your calm becomes proof that not every man will hurt her. But she has to see that on her own. You don't convince her with words. You show her by staying grounded. When you understand that you're not just dealing with her, but also with the history behind her, you start to take her reactions less personally. You stop trying to fix her, and you start leading with emotional stability. Because at the end of the day, trauma doesn't get healed by pressure. It gets healed when it stops meeting chaos and starts meeting peace. 5. Closeness feels like danger. To most men, closeness with a woman feels like progress. You get to know each other. You connect. The emotional intimacy starts to build. You think, this is going well. But for some women, that exact moment, the closeness, is what sets off an emotional alarm. And it's not because anything is wrong. It's because closeness, to her, equals exposure. The closer she gets to you, the more you see who she really is. Not just the attractive, put-together version she showed at the start, but the real her, the insecure parts, the sensitive parts, the fears she doesn't talk about. And if she's been taught, by life or past relationships, that being seen as risky, closeness starts to feel like danger. You're probably thinking, but isn't closeness what she wants? Yes, on the surface. She wants connection. She wants to feel safe. But when that safety actually starts forming, her defense system kicks in. Not because of what you're doing wrong, but because of what she's still afraid of. Let's say you're spending more time together. You're having deep talks. You're being consistent. No drama, just solid connection. And then, just when you think it's deepening, she starts pulling away. Less texts, less interest, more mood swings. Suddenly she needs space. It makes no sense, right? But to her, The increasing intimacy feels like she's losing her emotional shield. You're getting inside. You're reaching parts of her she's been protecting for a long time. And now, she's panicking. Because if you really get in, you now have the power to hurt her in ways no one else can. That's why closeness, ironically, doesn't always feel safe to her. It feels dangerous. Because deep down, she believes the more she opens up, the more she risks being abandoned, judged, or rejected. And this is where you have to be sharp. Not reactive, not needy, not emotionally thrown off because she suddenly went cold. You have to recognize that her reaction isn't rejection. It's resistance. Resistance to being fully seen. Resistance to surrendering emotionally. Resistance to what she actually craves most. The worst thing you can do in that moment is start chasing her or demanding clarity. That only increases her anxiety. But if you hold your ground, if you stay calm and give her space without making it about you, she'll feel that energy shift. She'll sense that you're not just another man trying to own her emotions, you're someone who can handle them. And that's what makes her want to come back, not out of guilt, but out of trust. 6. She wants reassurance, without asking. A lot of men don't realize this, but one of the biggest reasons a woman might push you away when she actually wants you is because deep down, she's craving reassurance, but refuses to ask for it. Not because she doesn't need it, she absolutely does, but because asking would mean admitting vulnerability. It would mean admitting that you matter. And that scares her more than you think. See, most women have a love-hate relationship with emotional dependence. On one hand, they want to feel chosen, desired, valued. But on the other hand, they don't want to need a man to feel those things. They've been told they shouldn't. So instead of asking for the reassurance they need, they create tension to see if you'll give it without being told. It's not a game. It's emotional protection. They want to know, if I stop being sweet, will he still show up? If I pull away a little, will he stay steady or fall apart? If I don't tell him what I need, will he still understand me? This is the emotional tug of war that plays out silently in her mind. And if you don't know what's really going on, her behavior seems erratic. One minute she's into you, the next she's distant. You feel like you're walking on eggshells trying to figure her out. But really, all she wants is to feel secure, without having to beg for it. She wants to know that your interest isn't just about convenience, that you're not just showing up because she's making it easy. She wants to feel that even when she's uncertain or emotionally off, you're still solid. You're not phased. You're not emotionally needy. You're not expecting her to carry the emotional weight of the connection. That's what gives her the reassurance she's secretly looking for. But here's the twist. She won't say it out loud, not directly. She won't tell you, "Hey, I feel insecure right now. I need to know you're not going anywhere." Instead, she'll act cold, distracted, or uninterested, just to see how you'll react. And this is where most men collapse. They assume she's over it. They start panicking or arguing or trying to win her back. And by doing that, they reinforce her biggest fear, that emotional closeness can't be trusted. But when you stay emotionally grounded, when you don't take the bait, don't overreact, and don't demand anything back, you give her the reassurance she wanted all along. Not through words, but through consistency, through presence, through calm. And that's what makes her feel safe again. 7. Your reaction decides everything. This is where it all comes together. You can't control how she feels. You can't control if she pulls away. But what you can control, what matters more than anything else, is how you respond when it happens. Because make no mistake, your reaction decides everything. Too many men crumble the moment a woman starts acting distant. She stops texting back as fast, they blow up her phone. She says she needs space, they panic, over-explain, beg for a second chance. She gets moody or cold. They take it personally and start demanding answers. This is where men show their weakness, not in their words, but in their emotional response. And women feel that shift. They feel when a man goes from grounded and centered to insecure and emotional. And the moment she senses that she controls your behavior with hers, the dynamic breaks. She can't trust a man she can shake. Men need to wake up to this. Too many of you have been trained to be emotional responders instead of emotional leaders. You think showing her you care means reacting to every mood swing or shift in energy. You think love means trying to fix whatever discomfort she shows. But real strength? It's not in your reactions. It's in your restraint. If she's pulling away, go still. If she's acting cold, stay warm. But stay distant. If she's testing you emotionally, don't flinch. That doesn't mean you become a robot or a stone. It means you move from calm awareness, not desperate reaction. A man's power in a relationship doesn't come from controlling her. It comes from mastering himself. This is where most of you lose the woman you could have had. Not because she stopped caring, but because you stopped being the man she was drawn to. The man who was centered, confident, clear-headed. The moment she saw that her behavior had the power to unbalance you, the safety was gone. So here's the truth. It's not about how much she pulls away. It's about how little it changes you. Women are emotional by nature. That's not the problem. The problem is when men think they have to meet that emotion with their own. You don't. You have to meet it with stability. That's what she's unconsciously searching for. That's what earns her trust, not just her attention. So stop reacting like a boy every time she shifts. Start responding like a man who understands the game she doesn't even know she's playing. Not out of manipulation, but out of awareness. You're not there to fix her emotions. You're there to lead with yours. Because at the end of the day, how you respond when it's not easy, that's what separates the men she forgets from the men she never gets over. Here's the truth that most men are too afraid to say out loud. A woman's love doesn't always look like love. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like distance. Sometimes it looks like she's pushing you away. But underneath all of that, she's watching. She's waiting. She's hoping you'll respond like the man she can finally trust with her heart, even when she's not making it easy. And here's the controversial part. If she can break you emotionally, she can never fully love you. Not because she's cruel, but because she needs to feel your strength when hers is failing. She needs to know she can fall apart without dragging you down with her. That's where her respect is born. And without respect, no love can last. I want to hear from you. If you've ever dealt with a woman who pushed you away just when things were getting deep, share your experience in the comments. I read what you write. I respond. And I don't say that lightly. Because this channel isn't just about advice. It's about building real strength among men who've been confused, frustrated, and honestly, misled. You're not alone in this. And if you stay in this space, I'll show you exactly how to rise above the emotional games and start leading with power, clarity, and calm. Comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.